Most Americans can't cover a $1,000 emergency expense. But what if I told you that being truly prepared for life's unexpected challenges doesn't require a fortune or a doomsday bunker? In the next few minutes, you'll discover the 6 essential pillars that form the foundation of real-world preparedness, not Hollywood apocalypse scenarios, but practical solutions for everyday emergencies like job loss, power outages, and natural disasters. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear roadmap to build resilience and confidence, no matter what life throws your way. Welcome to Food Fixer, where we help you take control of your security and self-sufficiency. If you find this valuable, smash that like button and subscribe for more practical preparedness content. Let's be honest, when most people hear preparedness, they immediately think of those reality TV shows with underground bunkers and people hoarding decades' worth of supplies. But here's the reality. True preparedness isn't about preparing for the zombie apocalypse. It's about having the resilience and resources to handle everyday emergencies that actually happen to real people every single day. Think about it. A sudden job loss, a medical emergency, a power outage that lasts several days, or a natural disaster that disrupts your normal routine. These aren't far-fetched scenarios from a movie script. They're real situations that millions of Americans face each year. And the shocking truth is that most people are completely unprepared for even the most basic emergencies. That statistic I mentioned earlier isn't just a number. It reveals something crucial about our society. If people can't handle a $1,000 unexpected expense, how would they cope with a week-long power outage or a natural disaster that disrupts local supply chains? The answer is simple. They wouldn't cope well at all. But here's the good news. Being prepared doesn't have to be complicated, expensive, or overwhelming. After more than 15 years of studying and implementing preparedness strategies, I've learned that it all comes down to 6 core categories. These 6 pillars will prepare you for virtually any emergency situation you're likely to face. These pillars are water, food, shelter, security, sanitation, and first aid. Now I know what you're thinking. That sounds like a lot to manage. But trust me, once you understand how these work together, you'll see that it's actually quite simple. Each pillar supports the others, creating a comprehensive safety net that gives you confidence and peace of mind. Let's start with the most critical element, water. This isn't just important, it's literally a matter of life and death. While your body can survive for days or even weeks without food, just 3 days without water can be life-threatening. Yet amazingly, water preparedness is the area where most people fall shortest. Here's what you need to understand about water in emergencies. First, you need a reliable way to filter and purify questionable water sources. If you're thinking about those basic camping filters, you're on the right track, but you need to understand their limitations. Affordable options like the Sawyer Mini or Life Straw are excellent starting points. They filter down to 0.1 microns, which removes parasites and protozoa like Giardia and Cryptosporidium, the nasty stuff that can make you seriously ill. But here's what most people don't realize. These high-country filters won't remove chemicals or heavy metals. That's fine if you're filtering mountain stream water, but if you're dealing with city or suburban water sources, you might need something more comprehensive. This is where gravity-fed filters like the Big Berkey come in. They're popular among preparedness-minded folks because they can filter larger volumes and remove some chemicals. For even more comprehensive filtration, advanced filters like those from Hydro Blue can remove viruses, chemicals, and heavy metals. The key is to assess your local water sources. Do you have access to natural lakes, streams, or ponds? Or are you more likely to be dealing with city reservoirs or potentially contaminated urban water sources? Choose your filtration method based on what you're most likely to encounter. Now, filtering water is great for long-term scenarios, but for short-term emergencies, storing water is your best bet. You don't need expensive specialty containers to get started. Repurposed 2-liter bottles, Arizona iced tea jugs, and similar containers work perfectly fine. If you want to step it up, commercial water jugs from big box stores hold 5 to 6 gallons and are designed for long-term storage. For those who want to get more serious about water storage, specialty water bricks are fantastic. They're durable, stackable, and often come with water treatment chemicals included. But here's the real question. How much water do you actually need? For a family of 3, you should aim for at least a week's supply, which is about 50 gallons. That might sound like a lot, but remember, this includes drinking, cooking, and basic hygiene needs. Storage space is often the biggest challenge, so get creative. Think about closets, underbed storage, or even a corner of your garage. The key is to remember that the longer the emergency lasts, the more you'll need to rely on alternative sources and filtration rather than stored water. This brings us to emergency power, which is often overlooked but absolutely critical. Power outages are common in many emergencies, and staying connected to information and maintaining basic safety can be the difference between a minor inconvenience and a major crisis. Start with the basics. Batteries. Stock up on standard sizes like AA, AAA, C, and 9V for flashlights, radios, and other essentials. But here's a pro tip. Invest in rechargeable batteries. They're more cost-effective and sustainable for longer outages. You can recharge them during brief power restorations or using alternative power sources. For keeping your electronic devices running, power banks are game changers. They range from compact 10,000 mAh units that can charge your phone several times, up to massive 40,000 mAh units that can power tablets and other devices for days. But if you really want to step up your power game, consider portable power stations. These range from compact 250 watt-hour units that can run small appliances and charge multiple devices, all the way up to large 5 kilowatt-hour systems that can power major appliances and even whole sections of your home. Many of these support solar recharging, which can be a complete game-changer for extended outages. The key is to make a list of devices you'll need to power during an emergency and choose solutions that fit your needs and budget. Don't forget about solar panels. They can provide sustainable power generation even when the grid is down for extended periods. Now let's talk about food storage. And this is where I see people make the biggest mistakes. The golden rule of food storage is simple. Store what you eat and eat what you store. I cannot stress this enough. Stockpiling foods that your family dislikes is a complete waste of space and money. When you're already dealing with the stress of an emergency, the last thing you want is to force your family to eat unfamiliar or unappetizing food. There are essentially 3 types of food storage to consider. First, long-term storage buckets. These are commercially packaged foods designed for decades-long shelf life. They're great for serious preparedness, but they're expensive and often contain unfamiliar foods. Second, shelf-stable groceries. Think pasta, beans, rice, flour, and other staples that you probably already use in your regular cooking. Third, canned foods. These require little or no cooking, provide variety, and are familiar to most families. Here's my recommendation. Aim for at least 2 weeks of food on hand. You don't need a dedicated prepper pantry or some elaborate storage system. Just keep your regular shelves well stocked and rotate items to avoid waste. This buffer helps with everything from job loss to supply chain disruptions, and it's much more practical than you might think. The beauty of this approach is that it integrates seamlessly with your normal life. You're not storing weird survival foods that nobody wants to eat. You're simply maintaining a deeper pantry of foods you already enjoy. When you use something, you replace it. When items are getting close to expiration, you use them in your regular meals and replace them with fresh stock. Moving on to first aid, this is probably the most neglected area of preparedness, but it's absolutely vital. Most people think they're covered because they have a basic first aid kit in their medicine cabinet, but when you actually look at what's in those kits, they're usually filled with unnecessary items and lack the essentials you'd actually need in a real emergency. A comprehensive first aid kit should include bandages, gauze, and medical tape. And I mean real quantities, not just a few small bandages. You need antiseptics and ointments for wound care, scissors and tweezers for removing debris, gloves and masks for protection, and a sole. A supply of over-the-counter medications like pain relievers, anti-nausea medication, and anti-diarrheal medicine. But here's something most people don't think about: prescription medications. If you or family members rely on prescription drugs, you need to have extras on hand. Work with your doctor to get additional supplies, or consider services like Jace Medical that specialize in emergency medication preparedness. The key is to regularly review and update your kit. Replace expired items and tailor it to your family's specific needs. Consider having kits for your home, vehicles, and even your pets. Don't just buy a pre-made kit and forget about it. Know what's inside and how to use everything. Tools and survival gear might seem less critical than water and food, but they become incredibly important, especially after natural disasters. Basic hand tools are invaluable for making repairs, clearing debris, or helping others. Stock up on hammers, screwdrivers, wrenches, saws, shovels, crowbars, and axes. These aren't just for major disasters. They're useful for everyday problems that become bigger issues when you can't easily get to a hardware store. For more portable options, survival tools are useful in any scenario. Hatchets and fixed-blade knives, pocket knives and multi-tools, flashlights and lighters, these are items that can solve a wide variety of problems. Your everyday carry should include at least a lighter, flashlight, and multi-tool. As you get more serious about preparedness, you can expand with items like paracord, mini first aid kits, or compact emergency pouches for your vehicle. Communication and security become critical when normal systems break down. Information is power in a crisis, and you need reliable ways to stay informed and communicate with others. At minimum, you need a no-AA hand crank radio to receive weather and emergency updates even when the grid is down. These radios don't depend on batteries or electricity, so they'll work when you need them most. For family communication, walkie-talkies and GMRS radios let you stay in touch with family or neighbors when cell service is unavailable. For longer-range communication, ham radios are excellent, though they require additional equipment and licensing. Don't let that scare you away. The licensing process isn't difficult, and the capability is worth the effort. Home and personal security become more important when normal. Emergency services might be overwhelmed or unavailable. Home hardening doesn't have to be expensive or complicated. Reinforce doors with longer screws, install better locks, add window alarms, and consider security cameras. These improvements provide value even during normal times. Personal security is largely about situational awareness, staying alert, especially in public or during stressful events. Avoid distractions like cell phones when moving through unfamiliar or potentially dangerous areas. This isn't about being paranoid, it's about being prepared and aware. Don't forget about protecting important documents. In an emergency, access to vital documents can be crucial. Gather and protect personal identification like birth certificates and passports, financial and insurance records, medical information and prescriptions, property records like deeds and titles, and emergency contact lists. Store these in fireproof and waterproof safes or bags. While no bag is completely fireproof, steel lockboxes offer much better protection than plastic containers. If possible, keep copies in multiple locations. Sanitation and hygiene are often overlooked, but become critical as emergencies drag on. Poor sanitation leads to illness, which is especially dangerous when medical help may be limited. Stock up on hand soap and sanitizers, disinfectant wipes and bleach, heavy-duty garbage bags in various sizes, and cleaning supplies for surfaces and food safety. This isn't glamorous, but it's essential. Proper hygiene prevents the spread of illness and maintains morale during difficult times. It's one of those things that seems obvious until you're in a situation where clean water is limited and normal waste disposal isn't working. Finally, let's talk about the bug-out bag, your micro-preparedness kit. A bug-out bag, also called a get-home bag, is a compact kit designed for 1 to 3 days of survival away from home. It's essentially a microcosm of your larger preparedness plan and helps you understand what's truly essential. Even if you never need to evacuate, having a bug-out bag is like insurance. You hope you never use it, but you'll be grateful if you do. It forces you to think about what's really necessary and what's just nice to have. Start with the basics from all 6 preparedness categories, but in portable, lightweight versions. Over time, refine your bag based on experience. Swap out items as your needs change. Test the weight and comfort by actually walking with it, and replace expired food, batteries, and medications. Don't worry about perfection. Just get started and improve as you go. If this video helped you understand how to build real-world preparedness, hit that like button and subscribe to Food Fixer for more practical content about taking control of your security and self-sufficiency. What's the first preparedness step you're going to take after watching this video? Let me know in the comments below.